Happening, everyone? Welcome back to the show. We got a banging Friday show. I'm excited for this one. We've been going all week and building up to this moment, this singular moment of don't F this up, everyone else on the panel. That's what we're going with. No pressure. Very excited. Again, welcome Hexaco. Hope you're strapped in. Got a lot of cool stuff to cover. And yeah, I'm not going to waste any time for the intro. I'm going to bring him in. Welcome back to the show, Zenith, Briz, and Crypto Kong. How's it going, gents?
Good morning.
Good to see you, Max. How we doing?
Yeah, doing
We're
good.
We're back,
man.
baby. We're back. That's how I'm doing.
We are so back.
We're going Pluto. That's the route I call it today.
I think that was the narrative.
I like that narrative. I like it. Gents, are you feeling bullish today? How's give me a heat check. Give me a heat check. How you guys feeling?
Oh, we hot.
Yeah, I think bull market's
Super
on.
bullish.
So
Can you see my horns?
I see them.
If we had an internet rapper name for how we're feeling right now, it would be Super Hot Fire.
Super hot fire. I like that.
Go.
I like that. Shout
out to the people that understand the reference.
I don't understand the reference, but I like it. Kong is he's got some cool logos there. You got some cool logos, Kong. I like that.
yeah. I think the best logos in all of crypto. I heard. So that's what I heard.
100%.
Yeah. Huge, big league logos. Those.
Yeah, these are they call them blue chips.
The blue chips. That's right.
Even the P copy logos are like way better than all the originals.
I think Briz is stirring up controversy.
It's like that is one way to look at it. There,
is that a controversial comment?
I don't know. You're gonna have to ask. You're gonna have to ask the people, man. I think anything you could say is controversial. So
everything I say is controversial.
I mean, the ink token. Who likes the ink token? That thing, just the money printer called ink. That's right. Briss likes that one. That's right.
I would argue actually that there's $555 million worth of people that like the ink token, and we'll get into that later today.
Well, your argument sounds sound and full of data. I do like that. I do like those things.
I'm going to say this, sir. I try to.
I only wrote down one note, and it's about the ink token.
Well, that's a plan. That's a plan. First of all, shout out to Storyteller 17 Martin. Got some banger tweets from time to time. And in this particular show, I thought it was so good that I wanted to make it a primary topic of today. And hence, that's why we named the stream 10 bullish predictions here. So he's went through a few different things, and I want to tackle each one with you guys and get some thoughts too. Got a few other things to cover as well. But if you aren't bullish on PulseChain.com, you have not subscribed to this channel or watched the 10,000 other people that are yelling from the rooftops and refuse to lose. So, gents, how about let's kick it off with the first one. We're going to get into ink. We're going to get into some of the data. I'm sure Zenith at the last minute is going to be like, no, I got 5 more minutes to chart, and they're just going to blow us away as well. But first one here. In bear market, people tend to believe all the imaginary horribles, yet they oftentimes miss the bigger picture. I love that opening statement, by the way. That is completely true. Here are 10 bullish predictions I expect to happen over the next 12 to 18 months, hopefully sooner, hopefully much sooner, in regards to the Richard Hart ecosystem. First one, gents. First one. Hit it with us. Who wants to take it?
SEC case versus Richard gets dismissed. For, I guess, anybody that's seen me on this stream or anywhere else. Yeah, I follow this one pretty closely. Unfortunately, right now, we still have no updates on it, but I do believe that the likelihood of it getting dismissed probably closer to a coin toss, but then there's actually some outside factors that might help get there as well, outside of just the motion to dismiss being granted. But Paul Atkins is slated to be appointed as the new SEC chair. He does have to get confirmed by the Senate, which he's not on the docket just yet, but he was formally submitted to the Senate for appointment there. As part of his supposed leadership of the SEC, they're going to be taking a look at the existing cases and determining what's worth pursuing, what actually is just the SEC got too far out over their skis with Gary Gensler. And then if there's anything that they can reasonably settle, I imagine they will. So chances are very good for this. The timeline, though, is the big question right now.
And in my opinion, it practically has to be dismissed just because of I don't know if it was an executive order that Trump signed, but they introduced something regarding cryptocurrency, saying, "Hey, you need to let people deploy blockchains without being punished for doing so."
For sure. So let me see if I can pull up the thing that you're referencing here. It is the executive order that was signed on the 23rd. I believe we covered it last time I was on here. There's that, and there's also a video from David Sachs. Those two are the most bullish signs for this particular item, which is that David Sachs is a fantastic 6-minute interview with Fox Business, and he talks about a lot of this stuff. And one of the things that he talks about is the idea that cryptocurrencies are not just blanket securities as much as Gary Gensler would like them to be. And in fact, there's a lot of different categories. Some of them are securities, no doubt, but largely there's a lot of different categories that he believes in and believe that they can be sorted into. So if David Sachs, the crypto czar, is saying that, I imagine that's going to have some sort of impact on the rest of the crypto gang, whether they're at the SEC, the FCDC, or any of the other regulatory bodies.
Yeah, so the other day when we talked about, we had Nuclear Herb, shout out to Nuclear Herbs. He, Zenith, and we were all talking about the timelines, how the executive orders up and all that stuff too. 30 days, 60 days, 180 days. Some of these things take effect, or in different ways with that too. Do you all think that in the next, I mean, is it going to be sooner rather than later? I know we keep holding our breath. I know Auntie Carol, we're coming up on 90, we're coming up on 60, or we passed 60 days, we're coming up on 90 now. What's the feeling?
Just for reference, this is the executive order that we were discussing previously, strengthening American leadership in digital financial technology. Again, just as a quick reminder for the folks at home, this section here, section 1, subsection 1, this is the one people are talking about, promoting and protecting and promoting the ability of individual citizens and private sector entities alike to access and use for lawful purposes open public blockchain networks without persecution. That right there is the key thing that people have been latching on to. As far as your question, Max, though, of the timeline, I think, unfortunately, the timeline is going to get a little dragged out than we'd like, because there's a lot bigger priorities on the current administration's wish list than this one. Obviously, this is very important. Donald Trump has been making good on a lot of different promises, such as pardoning Ross Ulbricht, or commuting a sentence, I believe is the technical term for it. But there are a lot bigger fish to fry for the Trump administration. This is an important one for sure. They've demonstrated that by the executive order that came out on the third day of his presidency, and also the appointment of the crypto czar, very good crypto folks in high places like Paul Atkins at the SEC, and some other folks. So there will be some patience here, unfortunately, as much as we would love for this to get settled so we can just pump to the moon immediately. But realistically, this stuff moves slow.
Well, on that point too, I mean, that is a common sentiment of this thing, PulseChain will pump once this thing happens. Why? Why is that the case? Like, why is that an anchor that on the ecosystem?
The reason being is that, if you just go look at the chart, on July 31st, 2023, when the SEC dropped their formal complaint for Richard Hart and the PulseChain ecosystem, including PulseX and Hex, you can see it dumped about 70% that day, and then ever since then has really struggled. There was a good run up in March of 2024, but outside of that, we continue to dump back down up until the most recent run up that we had, and we're having a little bit of a correction in my personal opinion. But it's very obvious that you can pinpoint to the exact day, and probably to the exact hour that it gets released, the effect that the SEC has had. Because of that, people have also been hanging their hat on the argument that the SEC's investigating, I don't want to get involved. So Hex gets pulled from Uniswap, PulseChain, PulseX, and Hex are not getting listed on centralized exchanges. And then a lot of people are just kind of down on it and not willing to, it's the folks that are unwilling to do the research just because there's a million things to research, and this is just not something that makes their priority list. It's that kind of a headline-ism, if you will, which just prevents people from getting into it. So once that giant rain cloud is cleared, they have no more obstacles to look into it. And then it should also improve sentiment. Humans are emotional creatures, unfortunately, and hopefully that will help give people some confidence about parking their money over here.
Zenith, I'll also ask you your thoughts on if you think that the new administration, the kind of Trump administration coming in, is having any effect on, or a potential, I don't know if it's a delay or if it's just like the time it's taken for the judge to make her decision, if she's waiting for like any new information to come out. Because I've seen some stuff surrounding that as well, but I don't know like if you have any thoughts on that as well. So
realistically, Judge Carroll, she is an independent actor inside of the judicial system. Any judgment she comes to is going to be her own and most likely not factored by outside influence, because at the end of the day, the only way to get rid of her is if she chooses to step down on her own volition or she's impeached. And come on, when was the last time you actually found a federal judge impeached, especially one with a good track record and looks like who's doing good work like she is? So because of that, the only thing that might potentially actually affect her ruling is the potential legalization or turning of law that exists that it is being charged now. So it's kind of like the classic thing where people used to have like marijuana possession charges, and then when some states start legalizing these marijuana charges, all the people who had those open cases on the books, the judge kind of just dropped the charges, dismissed them, said, yeah, we're not going to enforce old law that's no longer applicable on these people because that just doesn't make sense. So it could be something like that when it comes to securities law or the actual judgment of how cryptocurrency fits into old securities law. That's the only thing, in my opinion, that would do that. But as far as the administration, they really can't apply pressure in any way, and it would be very unwise to try to pressure federal judges. That is usually where you get the corruption word thrown at you.
Yeah, let's win the right way.
I think Judge Carroll might go on X and see everyone calling her Auntie Carroll, and she's going to find that very endearing, and she's going to drop the case.
Are you talking about love bombing ourselves to a win?
That's
exactly.
That is a prediction. I'm okay with that. Yeah. Before we wrap up each one, too, does anyone agree, or I guess anyone disagree with 12 to 18 months with this particular prediction? SET case versus Richard gets dismissed, and any caveats?
The unfortunate thing is that 12 to 18 months is a very realistic timeline. If it takes more than 12 months, though, odds are we're going to miss the bull market.
And
I don't think
from the panel.
Prove me wrong. Like, please, like, tell me I'm wrong. But that's just
wrong.
The way I'm seeing it.
I think you're wrong. I don't think we're going to miss it. I don't think we're going to miss it, period. Just because there's a giant sack of cash hanging above the PulseChain that could just drop onto it at any time. And quite frankly, I don't think any of these legal matters really make much of a difference. If anything, it's going to make his legal case better because he's going to be shown providing liquidity. Someone provided liquidity, but I just don't think, no matter what, I don't think we're going to miss the bull run. I think it's going to happen no matter what.
That's a fantastic segue to number 2. 500 million plus sacrifice money gets bridged into the PulseChain. In the PulseChain.
I was even reading number 2 yet.
I know. Oh, you weren't. I thought you were like preparing for it. Brits was
no, actually, I was just making my argument on why we won't miss the bull run. But number 2 leads into that argument perfectly. 500 million of sacrifice money gets bridged in the PulseChain, and that's why I really truly believe we won't miss the bull run.
So my understanding is that this one is in direct reference to sacrifice funds that were used to purchase Ethereum. Those will later be used to actually pump PulseChain itself. I mean, theoretically, the argument makes sense, which is that the whale wants to buy the things that the whale likes, and he likes PulseChain clearly, so he wants to do well over there. At the same time, though, that seems more like a extra factor as opposed to the other fundamentals going on, which is Bitcoin 4-year cycle, Hart's law, or liquidity pairing, if you will. And it is that extra pump that could really get you from like that 100x to the 1000x. It's something that could do that, but overall, I think there will still be price appreciation without it. But if that does happen, oh yeah, absolutely massive event.
I would say as well, you'll probably have like those feedback loops, like you're saying, like if even if the like money, I think as well as like good point is for you guys, for any listeners, I don't think you're gonna have, and maybe it does happen, but I don't think you're gonna have $500 million bridged in at one time and then injected into the liquidity pool at one time.
How do you? I was going to ask, how do you think it would look? Like what? I mean, we talked about before, different strategies, a little bit at a time, compounding over. Like what are some strategies around that if it were to happen?
And I wouldn't be surprised if we're in those strategies right now. Like Richard's probably, and I think there is proof on chain of him kind of market making, PulseChain and Hex to a certain extent, whether it's through liquidity providing or just through like potentially even trading the charts. But one thing I will say is that I do think probably a slower injection, and then you'll probably start to see these kind of larger, kind of bridge amounts coming in. And I wouldn't be surprised if you get like the feedback loop. So like even regular people trying to, like, let's say front run the SAC money, which they don't know when or if it's actually ever going to come. But I think as soon as you start to see like even like small DCAs, or like you start to see some more activity in these ETH wallets, you'll probably start to see a lot people get more excited about some of these funds. Because yeah, right now I think it's in the back of everyone's mind, but it hasn't been since like I think last year in like January, and since we've seen like I think some of those SAC funds come over. So I think we might be getting prepped here for some movements. But I think Richard also, like, perhaps he might have like looked at what happened last time, and I think it was actually good that we had a little bit of a pump and then you had people just get out of there. Because if Richard, or if I'm saying Richard, but if a big player wants to come in and buy back people's stacks, like they will have to buy back higher if they see that there is a big entity coming across the bridge. So
I think this comment's really interesting too. I personally don't want to depend on RH to drop the sack to pump her bags, because then it's not organic growth. What is the argument? Because again, I guess I always frame this as, I trust whoever the whale's judgment is. I trust the judgment. That person definitely trusts RH judgment in a lot of ways too, of framing the ecosystem, whatever else. So I just can't imagine that it wouldn't be done. If it is done, I couldn't imagine it wouldn't be done in a way that encourages growth. But obviously, yeah, it could go the other way as well. What is the what is the for and against on that? I guess, or
so shout out to Agent J, my co-host over at DJ
Yes.
Roundtable.
Shout out to Agent J.
We've talked about this a good bit, and the thing with this is that you can kind of imagine this argument is similar to a founder at a meme coin that they launch, which is that if you have someone who has such a large position that they can artificially pump a price because of the comparison of their bags to the size of a liquidity pool, it doesn't give you confidence in the underlying fundamentals of the token itself. What you're seeing is just pure price appreciation from the standpoint of someone injecting capital and then other people potentially removing capital if they're set up well to do it. It's a different argument in degree when it comes to this, because the amount of capital required to pump an ecosystem like this is going to be much, much greater. And you get to that level where it's like you're almost rivaling some nation states at that point when it comes to a bankroll. So it's a similar argument, but at the same time, with a pool this large, it does lose some of the validity. But the point here is that if you can get more organic growth, what that shows is that there's more individuals out there who are willing to put their money where their mouth is and get involved with the program, as opposed to one large player who can really control it like it's almost a lever.
I thought about this a little bit, to where the point, of course I want organic growth. I want 1 million new users to be onboarded on the PulseChain. And if we get 1 million new users, we're going to be, everyone that's in here now is going to be completely set for the future. One of the things I kind of thought about was back when Hex like really started taking off. Every time I wanted to hit that sell button, I would see faces like Kong and RHMax and Zenith. Your faces would pop up in my head, and you guys would have tears saying, "Please don't dump on me. Please don't dump on me." And so I wouldn't dump, because I'm like, oh man, if I do this, I'm gonna kill the charts for everybody. And it stopped me from selling just a little bit. However, if a lot of the money is now coming from just say like a sacrifice wallet, that kind of reverses the PvP elements of crypto and kind of turns it into a PvE, player versus environment. And now I kind of don't feel guilty taking money from the sacrifice contributions. more or less, if that makes sense. It kind of turns it against like a little bit of a PvP into a PvE type scenario, and exactly that's hex guilt. But I mean, that's one of the things I was kind of thinking about regarding that. But
think that's a
what my last thing I'll say about that before I pass the mic is that I think that the idea of the sacrifice coming into the pulse chain, I think that's an incredible marketing tool, because when people buy into these coins, they're going to have the question, all right, who's going to buy after me? You know, and right now we're like, well, we just need to onboard 1 million new people, and that's the next buyers. But with us, we can say, hey, look, front run this potential whale, and that's how we can get a bunch of new people to come into our market.
Kong, do you have something?
Yeah, I wanted to share my screen actually, and I'll it's kind of relative to kind of PulseChain and Ethereum, because I think and I don't exactly know what people have in terms of their expectations, but Ethereum took a long
right?
Yeah, right, but even in terms of even in terms of like the growth and stuff, I'll share Ethereum here because I think this is kind of an interesting point. It took Ethereum over 1,000 days to go from essentially like 800 or sub 1,000 daily active users here, and then it kind of climbed up to where PulseChain is now, like 8 to maybe 15,000 depending on the day. Might even be way more than like 8,000 on the low end now, but you can see here like it spent a lot of time just kind of like pretty much years and years and years, right? Like probably at least 700 days between this range of like 8,000 addresses and like maybe 20,000 addresses. And then you can see pretty much what happened to ETH as that 2017 bull market hit. So yeah, but like Richard's also compared price performance, or what could be the price performance of PulseChain to things of Ethereum and things of Hex as well. Like Hex did, I think Richard quoted it like 10,000x in like 600 and something days or something like this. So yeah, I think kind of the point is here as well is like if you guys are looking in terms of adoption and even comparing this to Ethereum, you can actually see like I think it took Ethereum like 1,000 plus days to go like essentially from 0 addresses to like above like 100,000 here. So maybe we could expect like, even if we just match the growth of Ethereum, like you're looking at 1,000 days, and then even if like it's 2x better, I think maybe by now, like if you're at that kind of like 1.5 2 year mark, then I think kind of the point is like I think even relatively speaking, PulseChain has more daily active users than where Ethereum was kind of back then, and I think the point is as well is that we're waiting for, and I'm saying waiting for, but I think this is kind of what we're looking for in terms of price appreciation, right? And like even when we're talking about like it can be like it doesn't have to be the SAC funds and only the SAC funds, right? You'll probably have like this is kind of what I look at in terms of like the positive feedback loop. As you have like price pumping, right? You'll probably have more people coming in, which causes more price to pump, which causes more people to come in, which causes more price to pump. And this is kind of, I'm not saying it'll be the exact result, but this is sort of the result you'll see from that, right? So you'll probably just need that original kind of kick. And I think we'll get into like kind of overall bull market stats. But I don't think the altcoins, like even in general, have like maybe some of them, but I don't think majority of the altcoins have really started their major like bull market altcoin season. Like I don't, like if you check out the Bitcoin dominance, like it's still up there. So yeah, I would keep that in mind as well.
Good points. Wow. Are people enjoying your free content that you paid $0 for? I certainly am. I like it. I like it a lot.
I want my money back.
You'll get your $0 back when I get my $0 back, Bruce. Anyone disagree or think that any caveats of SAC money getting bridged in? Any Alternate theories, hopefully bullish ones, but I'll take bearish too.
SAC money's great, but we're good enough. We don't even need it.
I got a theory. I think we will hit all-time highs, and the chain's just going to be pumping, and everyone's going to be in disbelief when the SAC funds are never touched.
I'd like that written on a t-shirt, sir.
Because everyone's going to be like, oh
good.
my God, we're at all-time highs. And like the SAC money is still going to be sitting there.
Well, the front running, that's what you talk about with the front running, right? Like if that happens and people are like, I need to get in before ETH whales buy, then hey, we'd be sitting at smashing all-time highs without SAC money being bridged in. Wouldn't that be impressive? And then boom, boom, if it does in the future.
Here, I'll make a prediction right here, right now. I think we'll hit all-time highs, and I think the SAC funds probably won't even be touched this cycle. Maybe in the 2028 cycle. That's my prediction.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, all-time highs like 2x SAC or 3x SAC, or all-time highs like real good 100x, 1000x, 10,000x. What the people want.
Like a 10,000x this cycle.
Whew,
type of deal, like when Hex hit all-time highs, like that kind of deal.
All right. I like the Hex token. It's got some good all-time highs. Number 3, another one that I'm sure Briz has some great commentary on as well. PulseChain liquidity providing becomes highly profitable with stablecoin farms doing around 20% APY. Inc. goes parabolic. What do you think, gentlemen?
So I'll start this one off. I think regarding Inc., this is the way I kind of see how it could play out. I don't know if it will, but this is what I would do if I was in charge of it, is right around all-time highs. If I were Richard Hart, I would create single-sided staking on PulseX using PulseX, PLSX, and have that earn Inc. And I would probably move 50% of the Inc distribution into the single-sided staking on PulseX. What does that mean? That means everyone that's farming will get their Inc, how much Inc they get produced will come way down. But what would happen to keep those APRs up is that the price will go way up. So everyone will be getting a lot less Inc, but the price will go up to maintain those APRs. So that's how, if the stablecoin farms start doing 20%, they're doing 10% right now. If they do 20%, that means the APY has to come from somewhere else, right? Well, actually, the stablecoin farms don't even do Inc, though, right? Don't they do just trading fees?
I think so.
That was my understanding as well. I will admit this is possibly the one that doesn't make the most sense in my mind, because if we go and we look at the farms right now, the lowest APR one is PulseX and Pulse at like 8.3%. And then all the stables are somewhere in the 40s even. But if you look at the other ones, like Hex and Pulse is at effectively 17%. Incentive token and Pulse is like 25%, and then incentive of PulseX is 18%. Obviously, a lot of this is just calculated math based on the weights of the pools, how much people are putting in, and then also the comparative value of incentive token. So theoretically, like the post is saying, if incentive token goes parabolic, it means that those APRs are also going to start rising as well, because the value of the reward you're getting is also exponentially higher, but it also is in relation to the rest of the tokens. So if incentive token runs further than the other tokens, then yeah, APR looks pretty juicy. But yeah, again, this is the one that I think I'm least comfortable talking about. So if I'm wrong, someone please correct me.
You could be right. I've yet to hear correction.
Fair enough. I know Dylan, if Dylan is the guy, if it's not the correct Dylan, then I'm pretty sure this guy knows a lot about this kind of stuff. So happy to hear from him on it too. He
may have been on the show a time or so talking about lots of different money things, pulse things, all that stuff.
Yeah, he's a sharp guy. I like hearing him talk.
So what's the current AP? What is it? 6%? Looks like 6% on stablecoins. It used to be, yeah, it was around 10 before. So the post was saying 20. Wow. How do we get to 20? Like, how does that? What needs to happen other than? Is that like how much? I guess the question is how much control is it on the platform side versus the participation or lack thereof?
I think it's just it's just based on volume for the most part. You know, I mean, it could go to 20% today if everyone just started trading stable coins.
Go.
Yeah. Everyone go trade $100 of stable coins for another stable coin.
If we all do it together, the powers combined. Captain Mad Gains.
It is a theory.
Let's go help those stable coin farmers. Come on, guys.
Yeah. It ain't much, but it's good work.
It's honest work.
It's honest work. Kong, anything on this before we wrap it up?
No, I think you guys covered all the meat and potatoes on that topic. So,
okay. Any again contrarian views or otherwise? The ink doesn't go parabolic, or we don't. Stable swap doesn't pay high APY.
I think if anything, you'll probably have people just launching some sort of yield farming platform, like not a Pulse Latina, but probably like some real thing. And like I think there's already protocols on PulseChain that kind of can pay you yield pretty nice. Like there's the Grace Tech and stuff. So like, yeah, I think the PulseChain farms will go crazy. I think that ties in with incentive as well, right? But you will probably have other things like that could bring attention to PulseChain as well that could also pay a yield. So I'll say that.
Well, that brings us on to my favorite token, Hex.com. When we see the diamond, 5555 diamond, one day, we certainly hope so. It's a beautiful one. Hex breaks all-time high. This is a prediction here as well. Number 4. We all got on that.
Absolutely.
And qualify with all-time high of Ethereum Hex around 55 cents or so versus all-time high of PulseChain Hex, which was a few cents.
Yeah, I think Hex has to break all-time highs, even eHex. I think eHex will do all-time highs. There's a lot less Hex out there than I think most people kind of realize. And if we get, $500 million bridged in, and if that $500 million really likes Hex, it's going to absorb it all very quickly, I believe. Especially if the big market makers take out their liquidity positions of Hex and they pull it out and just make it even more scarce. We're definitely going to see all-time highs.
If Hex does not break all-time highs, I think that is actually a very bad signal, which is that theoretically, as we go on through time, you should continually make higher highs. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people were pretty bearish on XRP until very recently. Because if you remember, last cycle, XRP didn't make a new all-time high. Therefore, it really spooked a lot of folks. And until it really took winning some court cases and getting a pump of the idea that people are going to have tax-free crypto projects in the United States, that's the stuff that really pumped it up to where it's at right now. As far as Hex goes, though, just remember, Hex is an inflationary token, but at the same time, it's a staking token too. So that means that total value lock should be increasing over time, and it also means that it should be easier to pump than some of the other stuff. So based on those factors, if it doesn't make a new all-time high, I think that's pretty bad news in my opinion. But at the same time, though, if it does break all-time high, fantastic. Keep it going. The show goes on, so to speak.
And my one last thing is, even though eHex can go to all-time highs and maybe even go extremely high, look at the liquidity pools, and you'll see that they're much, much thinner than the Hex liquidity pools on PulseChain. And so a strategy, that you might want to do is bridge over your eHex, probably trade it for pHex, and then do whatever kind of selling you might want to do. because the liquidity pools over on Ethereum are very, very thin.
Can I pull up my screen as well, Max?
Boom.
Yeah, we got the moon math. I think
Love
this is pampy.app. It looks like the UI got updated as well. Maybe
We
it
do
didn't,
Pluto
but I
math
think
today.
it did.
We're kind of into Pluto zone.
Yeah,
You
it's,
do
I
Pluto
think
math?
it's Pluto math actually.
Okay,
So
Pluto math. I like that.
yeah, this is Pampy's price appreciation simulator. $1 billion injected into Hex. This is a custom split here. And this is outputting a 12,181x, which is, I think that it's reasonable. And then I'll show you guys as well, like
$64.
I'll show you guys as well, like this is look into pdgc.com /moonmath. And it's very similar sort of calculator, maybe a little bit different. I think we might be using different calculations, but kind of get into very similar, the same answers. But yeah, this calculator, if I input $1 billion into Hex, it gets you about a 5,700x. So not the 12,000. So I thought I'd start with this. But yeah, either way, like you can see, you still get, like, I think that's way past all-time highs. Like even if we say like $100 million injected, like you can see where that would put Hex as well. And I'll do it on the other calculator here as well, so you can get some more reference points from the community as well here. But see if this works. Yeah, 140x outputted on this calculator, so $1.92 Hex. So yeah, a couple different answers here. I think some more bullish, some maybe less bullish. Maybe one's moon math, one's Pluto math for RHMax. But yeah, guys, like I think kind of the key takeaway from this here is you don't need a whole lot of liquidity to be injected for the price to actually move around a whole lot. You can even see like where this puts the reflexivity of the other tokens. I think you could even argue this could be higher, just through like Hart's law and stuff, assuming you don't have a bunch of people trading in and out of all the tokens and stuff. Either way as well, like you can see currently I'm saying only, but this is quite a lot of money. Even if you look, and maybe I'll pull up some stats. I might have to take down my screen first though. In terms like, I think PulseX it's in the top 10 in terms of most liquid dexes, at least last time I was looking at it. So, and that's in all of crypto according to DeFi Llama. And I think there's actually liquidity that they might not be accounting for either. And yeah, I think even PulseChain TVL is quite competitive as well. But yeah, kind of the point is as well, $125 million currently on chain. We know that there's, let's say, a treasury or a whale that has who, let's say, likes to buy some of the RH tickers, and they have another treasury of 500 million. And you can see here 100 million in the Hex calculator, 140x, or in this calculator 70x. So yeah, it's I would say do your own research, do your own calculations and stuff, but I think it's still pretty cool to see that it kind of doesn't take a lot, even mathematically speaking, and you can kind of see a few different answers here as well. So yeah, I think pretty cool.
I like the Hex token. Hex token good. Anyone saying Hex will not break all-time high this year? Any dissent?
Happening.
It'd be extremely surprising. You would say. All right, I like it.
I'm way too bullish to be bearish.
Bullish.
Can't help it.
It's true. I mean, could have been bearish for the last 2 or 3 years, but I hope the cycle of human emotions goes up into the moon as far as the where the bears, the bulls like to travel to that Pluto, that space atmosphere. Number
Just
5.
Remember. So just last thing. Just remember, the bears sound smart, but the bulls make money.
I want that. I like that. That's another T-shirt. You make a T-shirts today, Chris. I like it. PulseChain TVL crosses 5 bill. 5 bill. Are we getting to 5 bill? Well, we're at 600 million right now. I'll pull up DeFi Llama, but 5 bill. You think we'll cross that next 12 to 18 months? Who wants to go?
That would require like you said, right now we're currently sitting at 660 million. We were looking at the same website. Shocker. We're looking at 666 million total value locked right now. If you look at that peak back in March, that got all the way up to like 977 million. So we didn't quite hit that 1 billion threshold, but the target that we're looking at here is 5x of what we did in March. Whether it's price appreciation, whether it's people trying to park money on chain, it's one of those two. So theoretically right now, it's probably looking like price is either going to have to 10x or there's going to have to be a large injection of capital, which is entirely possible for actually both to happen. So I don't really think this is an unreasonable goal or expectation. If anything, when it comes to the moon math, this is a little more feasible than some of the other stuff we've been talking about.
I'll bring up the Dexus too. Sounds like Kong wants to talk about the PulseX soaking up this volume as well. Ooh, 555 TVL on PulseX. Says DeFi Llama.
Nice.
But yeah, I think it's number 10 there, right? At least I think on my screen it is. I can't really see your screen.
Yeah, it's number 10.
Yeah. So number 10 in all of crypto in terms of like dexes across all of crypto. And like keep in mind, I think there's still people who are fading PulseChain, fading PulseX, fading even crypto in general. But I think especially if you're fading RH, like how could you create a protocol like a DEX protocol that's top 10 in TVL in the entire world, and then also at the same time have like, and keep in mind we're pretty much at, I'll say, near the lows of PulseChain. So I think as the price starts to appreciate, you'll probably see this DEX TVL shoot up same way you saw like Hex market cap shoot up, right? So yeah, I don't know why people like think it's a scam or call it a scam. I think like the one thing one of the most important things in any cryptocurrency is the liquidity, right? And PulseChain has the liquidity. Even at the lows, all the liquidity is there. It's all on chain. It's not like, and it can go to centralized exchanges, but like I think it's better and more verifiable on chain, right? And you can really tell like what is actually there and is the order book actually real, because you can verify it on chain, right? So yeah, I think that's massive. Like not everyone, only the top 10 projects can make it to the top 10, right? And right now PulseX is there.
Are you telling me that people are trying to find a reason not to like PulseChain when it's when its premier DEX, one of the most liquidity and volume and all this stuff, is number 10 in volume? When everyone expects it, they're all disappointed that it hasn't went up all these hundreds or thousands of X's yet. It's already top 10. Uniswap's number 1, and most people would their prediction would be we haven't even got started yet, type of thing, as far as volume, TVL, price appreciation, all that stuff. I'm looking at it, I'm like, what are you all talking about? We're doing fine. I mean, again, the price hasn't been up 10,000x yet, but as far as like all the other metrics go, when you look at the data and you have the narrative and belief, I don't know what else to. How can you not be bullish looking at this?
It's hard not to be, and especially with this one that we're talking about, total value locked, considering that like the crown jewel of the entire network is a staking protocol. So yes, it encourages you to have value locked up. And then like one of the other top projects is the DEX that you also want to be staking on. So yeah, total value locked, I think is it's a very easy indicator for PulseChain to really stand out with. And I think it's an important one because it gives confidence to investors to come in.
And all you the Graves currency fans out there, I'm sure a bunch of those people were locking up their PTGC and their staking protocol. So yeah, I could see us getting to a 5 billion locked up pretty easily.
5 bill. Cool, 5 bill. So any contrarian view, any other outside view on that? It seems pretty straightforward. 5 bill, 10 bill, 15 bill. Take it. Number 6, PulseChain total daily volume crosses 1 bill. Now this one we're at around, I think we're 20 or 30 million right now. So 1 bill. How do we get there?
The largest peak that we have on this one was March 7th of 2024, pretty much the top. We had a volume of 154.8 million. So to get from there to 1 billion, that would pretty much be close to an 8x on volume. at least in the value of the volume going on. So again, price appreciation could assist with this, but at the same time, it just needs to get hot, and that could happen because of multitude of factors. One of the things that Briz was kind of joking about earlier, which is you got to help the stablecoin traders, which is that if more people are just making more transactions, that's how you get the volume. If you have more projects on a chain that's easier to transact on, then theoretically that volume should be easier to achieve because people are less worried about the gas fees and they're more concerned with the actual value of the things that they're trading and not trying to just take a massive haircut on gas fees pretty much. So I think PulseChain is uniquely set up to accomplish that. I think this is one of the larger asks, but at the same time, totally doable.
I would also just like to say that volume, while it seems like an okay metric, it can be spoofed, and
Exactly.
I never trust volume from anything because it could just be CZ sending $1 million back and forth to his wallets. So
CZ wants to send $1 trillion back and forth to his wallet on PulseChain, though. Why not? We're gonna tell him no. I mean, that one we can be all right. It's easy to do your
yeah. So
stake some hex while you're there. Stake some hex. We want true
wise.
metrics, but volume can be an interesting one for sure. Kong, any rational thoughts or contrarian thoughts on volume before we move on?
Yeah,
Not the Briz's thoughts weren't rational. I mean, just more interesting thoughts on volume. I didn't mean to follow with that.
I get that a lot.
You're shitting on
that a
Briz,
lot.
man.
I did not mean it. Just went. Just Kong. Any thoughts on volume?
Always love.
Briz, I like Briz's thoughts. However direction they go.
No, I think you guys covered all the bases as well. Like, the only thing I would say is I would look at liquidity and respect on-chain liquidity more than I would volume and stuff. And as you can still, like you guys are saying, you can still spoof volume, you can still kind of spoof liquidity, but I think you do have to almost, you have to put up something if you want to kind of spoof liquidity, where I think volume you can kind of just, you don't, like, maybe you pay a little bit of fees, but you're not really you don't have to put up a whole lot. So that's what I will say is, like, really respect liquidity. And I think, yeah, PulseChain, it has that. So
people are calling Zenith Briz, they're calling you the Hex Vengers. You know that, right?
Interesting one.
No, just kidding. They could be though. Now they might.
The superheroes of Hex.
Zenith does remind me of Captain America a little bit.
He does have a cap in him. Yep, I see it. Got the with the beard and all that stuff too. You got the cap off screen and a cap on screen if you shape. There you go. Man, I wish he was in the new one. Anyways,
just let it die. We had a good run. Just let it go. We'll never be the same, and that's okay.
Well,
good things come to an end, and that's
they
part
didn't
of what
want
makes
to.
it good.
Who knows if the next one he returns? But anyways, I don't want to go into Marvel theory and speculation. However, he is one of my favorite.
Number 7 here is an interesting one. I think we have a top 100 ERC20 token reaches a higher value as a PRC20. So this one is interesting to me because what it means is that there's either better market dynamics going on over on PulseChain, or a project actually switches over primarily to PulseChain. To a successful Ethereum project also switches over to PulseChain for some reason. I don't know, maybe lower gas fees, faster throughput, more decentralization. Well, it could be any number of things. But if you go look through the top 100 ERC20 token list, it's a lot of other layer 1s, layer 2s, some protocols like Aave is a stake or a lending protocol, stuff like that. Fetch, artificial superintelligence, the decentralized AI project. It's like there is a possible rationale where some of these projects might start encountering some hurdles over there on the Ethereum side of the world, shall we say, and they decide, you know what, let's go ahead and try both, and we'll just let the market decide, as some folks are fond of saying. But this would be incredible. I think this is one of the larger asks on the list, but at the same time, if it was possible, it would really solidify and prove to the world the fundamentals of PulseChain are truly better than Ethereum, and that it's actually worthwhile, and people are realizing it and utilizing it to their full advantage.
Yeah, the one ERC20 that I see moving over to PulseChain and outperforming it, in my opinion, is I see Hex. That's kind of a gimme though. Um, but for any of the other coins, I mean, it just doesn't feel like a lot of the people over that have developed on Ethereum just doesn't seem like they're really moving over that much. It seems like we got more guys like Buck, who copied, the Fiat Ave protocols and just things like that. They got Jexa, who copied the liquid staking protocols. It seems like that's more the case than the Ethereum bros coming over. I don't know, it just feels like not that many people are actually doing the move.
So the wrapped Bitcoin, worth money. There's of course PDI, Hex on PulseChain. Which ones? I'm trying to get a list, but I don't think the other one's loading well or something. Are there? I mean, so far, again, this is without having the massive green candles, without having the launch momentum that we had. That there was farms with Pepe and all this stuff going on too. I don't think. Yeah, I never thought that. I thought it was always a stretch that they would actually come to PulseChain to turn, to change the RPC on their game or whatever, to come here for, they could, of course, cheaper fees. Always talk about Decentraland and Mana and all that stuff too. Of course, there's a case to make to do it, but are they going to do it? I always thought that was a long shot. However, the speculation on things that aren't backed by things, it's kind of one of those, again, a lot of people like to speculate, whether it's good or bad, whether it's healthy or not. There is markets where there's liquidity and price fluctuations and trading. So in that way, does it turn into there's different narratives with, PDI and stuff as well, but does it always stay kind of a slot machine casino deal with the P copies, or is there any pieces? Could it turn into some bigger piece of the narrative?
So there's two scenarios where I see this happening, or possible. Scenario number one is actual movement of core business function. So you have true utility on PulseChain. And then at the same time, you also would have maybe like a more competitive space over on Ethereum, so it's harder to compete. So you move something like, I don't know, another one of the dexes like Uniswap or 1inch or something. If they're losing market share on Ethereum and they move to PulseChain and then they gain massive success, that would be one of the scenarios where you could theoretically see the PRC20 outcompete the ERC20. The other thing, which is going to be a shout out to Access Alive, he was the one that really showed me this. He's like, people will trade anything and everything under the sun. Even last cycle, there technically was a point where Ethereum Classic was outperforming Ethereum and even had a higher price at a certain point when one was going down, the other's going up. So the P copy stuff, yeah, you could theoretically see those things actually outperform their ERC20 counterpoint at very specific points of the market if you want to get technical with it. But at the same time, keep in mind, when you have stuff like the P copies, it is pure market forces and market dynamics that move those things, because realistically, there is no utility to it. It's kind of just... it's the meme coin. It is what it is. As long as you understand what the game is, don't get mad about it, and also understand the possibilities of it if you are dealing with just pure market forces and market psychology too. That's going to be some of the keys to having those PRCs outperform the Ethereum copies.
You got that tune in my head. The little bubble do the Gary Gensler mix on the Eminem song, "Let Me Be Me," and you got PRCs. Let the PRCs be. Go up. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's something there.
PRCs won't let me be.
There need to be a PRCs won't let me be. Let my Ethereum coins.
There's something there. There's something there.
From the PulseChain. I don't know. We'll have to work on it. Any other thoughts on the ERC20's top 100 ERC20 reaches higher value than PRC20, excluding Hex? Is that possible? I mean, again, the two biggest ones I know of with the liquidity and stuff is, of course, wrapped Bitcoin and the DAI that was copied over. Is there another one that has a chance, do you guys think?
Maybe
surpasses the Ethereum one.
Maybe if Aave, turn their stuff over, I don't know.
If Aave comes to PulseChain, I mean, again, there's a case to be made. It's just like, do
Or
they want
maybe
to do that?
the P maker token. If certain things play out, maybe people might just start bidding that one up for some whatever reason. So
the ones in the sphere of the stablecoin related area, maybe that's like a one that has. Okay.
The main issue with this one is the categorization of top 100 ERC20. If it is a top 100 ERC20, it means it is highly successful over on Ethereum. Like, there's already tokens that are much more successful over on PulseChain right now than on the other network. So it's like, yeah, those do exist, but if we're talking about a top 100, that's going to be the hard nut to crack on this one.
That's right.
One of the shit coins that I got that I really don't think it's gonna go anywhere, but I'm like, I have to get a small moon bag just in case, because I constantly see it, performing pretty good. Like right now, it's up like 18%. I think yesterday it was up like 32%, and that's Pulse staked ETH. Okay. I don't think that's gonna go anywhere because it's like it's like liquid staked ETH, but on PulseChain. I don't think it's going to get up to parity with ETH.
The slogan, there's always a chance on PulseChain.
But there's always a chance, and for some reason, man, it keeps going up when the market goes up. So, that might be one of them. The Pulse staked ETH. I mean, it's up 18% today for some reason. Why? Liquidity bonding. So
Dylan hit it on the head there.
All right, just a few minutes left. I know we got 3 more decent ones to wrap up here, though. Number 8, Hex total stakers reached 250K. I don't know where we're at now, but I think we're at like 130K. I want to say. I'm gonna guess 130K. I'll bring it up. But
we need to summon the power of Crispy Man and Hexfire.io in here and get some info.
There will be some summoning of the websites, at least, nothing else. Shout out to Crispy Man and Bit and everyone who does all the amazing stat stuff. I would like to see 1 million. 250K, that's about a doubling, I think. I'd like to see 1 million. I don't know, talking million stakers would just be phenomenally amazing. What do you guys think?
I would love to see, 250,000. I would love to see 1 million stakers. My only concern is that because we're in crypto, everybody can't stay focused. They're just chasing after brand new stuff constantly. Like I'm seeing people in the chat just posting about new coins, saying, hey, don't get left behind. We're going to remind you. But, the problem is it just doesn't feel like that many people are buying into Hex anymore. And then if they're not buying it, how can they stake it? So I don't know. I think maybe when we get back to all-time highs, people will realize, Hex is the real deal, and they'll come back and start staking it. But I don't know. It just kind of feels like everyone's kind of running after shiny new coins.
The riskier leverage plays you think that's taking a lot of the buying power away from X?
It kind of feels like it, but also I don't want to sound like, a crybaby.
Don't sound like a maxi.
Yeah, I don't want to be a maxi.
I mean, we can talk about it. I mean, I think you can support community building and stuff and still be like, I like this coin. I want it to do well. I'm going to keep screaming its name. I think there's room for that. Zenith, you want to jump in?
If you want people to stake, you got to incentivize them to stake, whether it's by things that you actually do or it's the conditions on the ground. Thankfully, when it comes to the T-shares, the increasing T-share rate, theoretically, on the pure numerical basis, yes, Hex stakes will always cost less Hex yesterday than today and tomorrow. Price is the other half of this factor, though, which is that realistically, people operate in the real world, so we're taking USD and we're trying to shove it into crypto at some point. So it's a weird balance, in my opinion, where it's like you want to incentivize people to try to stake as early as possible. But at the same time, if we're in 2025 now and we're all expecting Hex to make a new all-time high, then mathematically it might be better to hold liquid Hex now, sell at the top, eat the increased Hex T-share rate and then buy back in at a lower price, which if you believe in the 4-year cycle, then it's something that's assumed. But overall, though, it just comes down to you got to incentivize people to do the behavior you want to see more of. And whether it's the fundamentals of Hex and the T-share game, which great metagame there, but it's just a question of what's best at the current moment for each individual. So it's a little bit of wish casting in my personal opinion, but at the same time, more stakers is more TVL. More TVL is more confidence. More confidence is more investors. There you go.
Shout out to the daily payout, by the way. Kong, anything on the Hex token?
I think it's like the Bitcoin of our ecosystem, right? So even we've seen it as of recently. It's been one of the top gainers in terms of like the core tokens as of recently. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see this trend continue for a little bit, right? Just same way you see kind of Bitcoin right now taking charge in terms of like kind of the macro markets, and Ethereum kind of having to step back, probably waiting for that full altcoin season to come in. You might see something like this with Hex, right, where it just acts sort of like that Bitcoin, where it accumulates value until someone takes profits or the market takes profits, and kind of trickles that economic energy into some of the other cores on the chain. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Hex kind of acts like the Bitcoin, acts like the leader for a little bit here. But with that being said, like I still think PulseChain might act like the Ethereum in the sense that it could have that point in time where you start to majorly outperform Hex as well. Just like we've seen Ethereum kind of outperform Bitcoin in previous cycles during the bull market. So
where are you now,
yeah.
Ethereum? That ratio. Come back. Go back. Be better.
I think Ethereum's going to come back with a vengeance. I think this is just like the market doing its market stuff, to where, we've been so beaten down over the last like 3 years, and ETH is nowhere to be seen. It's like, it's going to make people give up. And then as soon as people start really giving up, especially like right now, that's when it's going to start taking off.
Yeah, Briz has got a good point. Like, it's going to be one of those things where you're going to have all the people who, let's say we're in Ethereum, we're waiting for Ethereum, and then they're taking a look at Bitcoin. They're like, oh, I made such a big mistake. I'm going to go buy Bitcoin, right? And they'll actually take the opposite trade of what you probably should have done. So yeah, instead of ideally rotating out of your Bitcoin, if you had some, into Ethereum, that's relatively expensive. People do the opposite, right? And they kind of make those emotional mistakes. And I think that it's starting to happen now. And when you start to see that, and even the Bitcoiners, I think, are getting a little bit too cocky, right? Like I think they're getting just a little bit too cocky. And as that like starts to creep up more and more and more, I think their worldview is going to get shattered with some of these altcoins taken off. So yeah, Briz has got some good points as well there.
Thank you. I've been loving all these Scottie Pippen posts, dude. He's become like the number one crypto guy, and I freaking love it, dude.
I love it. He's pumping. Somebody was saying here, is he going to pump? Scottie Pippen really going to be the random Ethereum catalyst signal to pump it? Oh, shout out Scottie Pippen. Pump that crypto.
Go Pippen.
Yes. Lightning round number 9. The real Godwell shows up, bridges in 100 million to PulseChain. 30 seconds or less for each of you, whoever wants to participate. Will Godwell come back and make big waves? Green candles, Dev.
No expectations.
Doesn't even have to be Godwell, right? It could be a new Godwell that comes in. Yeah, it could be Briz.
Godwell too.
Injection of new capital is always an increase in economic energy. Only a good thing. Don't rely on it though.
No expectations. But 1 + 1 = 2.
That is not. They're telling me that's correct. That is true. So yeah,
Quick
Godwell 3, Godwell 7. Like everyone, whoever wants to come in and pump the ecosystem, no one will shout no at you. Number 10, wrap it up. Hex, PulseX get listed on at least 3 top tier exchanges. Spicy, interesting. What do y'all got? 30, 45 seconds. What do you guys got?
Gentlemen, please.
Think if anything, you'll probably see PulseX itself as a top 3 exchange as well, in terms of like a decentralized exchange. in terms of like coin listings and stuff, I think people are working in the background. I think people are always working in the background trying to get these coins listed. And what I will say as well is I think if you have numbers 1 through 9 kind of play out, then number 10 kind of seems like a no-brainer, right? Like if you think about it like that, like if you have kind of a perfect storm, like I don't see why you like these exchanges, even if the like case is dismissed, everything's like everything's sunshine and whatever, right? But yeah, I think ideally like it'd be almost like a no-brainer for these exchanges to list these coins. Especially I think the goal of the exchanges is to get people trading and creating volume on their exchange. So if Hex and PulseChain are tokens that people are finding desirable and they want to buy, most people do not know how to bridge. Most people do not know how to use a DEX. Most people, they just want to go on a centralized, like they just ask, is it on Coinbase? Can I buy it on Coinbase? That's as far as like, it's as far as they can go, right? So I think as you start to see more and more demand and you start to see even the price pile up for PLS, you'll probably start to get exchange listings as people like start like, you know, regular retail start to ask these exchanges to list these tokens, because I don't think they're against making money, right? And if they have an opportunity to make money off of like volumes off of some of these like tokens, like I'm sure they would, right?
Holders, founders, and exchanges, they tend to make money in crypto. I've heard that before.
Kong, I think you're entirely correct on that, which is that a lot of people, especially non-DeFi folks, aka the new people that come along, they're going to be primarily looking to the centralized exchanges. On Book Club the other week, we covered The Creature from Jekyll Island, which is a study of the Federal Reserve, and really just kind of a story how fractional reserve banking is a Pandora's box that humans have just not been able to put it back into. And Johnny Chaos actually came on and explained to us, he was like, hey, look, we had the Federal Reserve System, messed up the dollar. Centralized exchanges are actually kind of doing a similar thing when it comes to fractional reserve lending for cryptocurrencies, and that's how a lot of them fail. Like the FTT token over on FTX, they just absolutely over leveraged the hell out of it, and that was one of the things that led to their downfall. Partly because Binance and CZ called them out and said, "Hey, this is all made up math," and some of the tinfoil hat speculation is that he knows that because he's doing the same thing as well with the BNB token, but that's all tinfoil hat theory speculation at this point. The point is that centralized exchange listings will be a massive injection just from the amount of eyeballs, the amount of people, just a trustworthiness that it's not actually real, but it feels real to the people on centralized exchanges because it puts something between you and the thing you're interacting with to give you security. Again, this is more likely to happen if point number 1, which is the SEC case, gets dropped. I think that is one of the things that the centralized exchanges have been utilizing as an argument not to list it. But at the same time, like you said, they want to make money. If you want to make money, you got to offer the products that are hot. If we get hot, they'll probably offer it. At the same time, though, please be aware, it could be a monkey's paw. It could be the thing that once you start getting listed on centralized exchanges, we start getting manipulated by potential fractional reserve style lending.
Yeah. Make PulseChain be attractive, and that's why aren't the big influencers talking about us? Well, do things to make them talk about us, but then also be aware, like you said, like some of these things being listed on big exchanges does have its could have its downsides as well. Chris?
I would just like to. I would just basically say the centralized exchanges they are beneficial because they're like the first stepping stone for a lot of like newbies to get into crypto. Me personally, I wanted to buy a Trump coin. I wanted to get one Trump coin for the culture. And I was like, oh man, now I need to install a Solana wallet. I need to figure out how Solana works because I'm not on Solana. I'm just not interested in it. But I ended up getting a Trump coin simply because it was available on Coinbase. I know, not if it's not your keys, not your Trump coin, but I
Coinbase owns your Trump coin.
Yeah, it's Coinbase.
They let you borrow it, but no. The point is very clear: is how easy it becomes, and not have to do all the setup for sure.
And who knows? I probably didn't even buy an actual Trump coin. You know what I mean? Like they're just saying, like, hey, you have $35 of something right here, and they just marked a 1 on their account. They probably don't even have it. They probably rehypothecated it. However, centralized exchange got me there. So they are useful. But so yeah,
Pros and cons.
pros and
Everyone,
cons.
greatest ecosystem on Earth. Greatest ecosystem on Earth. Also, check this out. I never get to show this. There we go. Money printer go burr. Money printer go burr. That's a business card. Not that I run a business. That's a card. I don't get to show very often. Keep in front of me all the time. I keep forgetting to show you. If you're in Vegas, you may receive one of these in March as well. I didn't give one to Zenith. I didn't give one to you the last time, so I might have to get one in.
It's okay, I got one better. I have a RHMax card somewhere, I'm pretty sure, but I also am the proud new owner of one of the Richard Hart $100 hex dollars or whatever they are.
Briz has a nice one too. Oh yeah, the RH bills. Yeah, I like those too. People may receive those this spring as well. We shall see. PulseChain.com, everyone. Are you not bullish enough, gents? Wrap this one up quickly. Excellent stream though. If you just got here, replay gang, you don't want to miss it. Lots of great commentary today. Start from the top, go down to the bottom. Zenith, what do you want to take us out on?
Folks, if you think crypto's hot now,
we will win.
It's only going to get hotter during the rest of the year. If you thought it's red hot now, it will get white hot at some point. The euphoria, the disillusion, the emotions, everything. It will come to a high that you never thought was feasible. So just please keep your head on a swivel. Be prepared for what's coming. And out of the list that we talked about today, I think possibly the most important one was number 4, which is that Hex breaks all-time highs. If Hex is able to break all-time highs, even before the SEC case gets dismissed, that'll be fantastic. Outside of that, though, total value locked, daily volume, Hex stakers, these are all very important things. I am part of the gang, which is like, I'm not relying on Sack Daddy. If some god whale or benevolent person wants to just inject a ton of money into the ecosystem and just absolutely gigapump it, this is only good news. But I do believe that the fundamentals are good enough outside of that, which is that the tech is secure. It is fully decentralized. We have a lot of great protocols, a lot of great programs. We have a lot of great dexes, and we love great projects. And the community is absolutely behind it. If you've stuck through this, you're pretty much going to stick through it through anything. So all these are good reasons that show me that I think it's going to last the test of time, and it will continue to do well into the future. Outside of that, though, folks, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at ZenithDI, or the new project I'm launching. Please, we're just trying to do our white glove professional thing to attract more people. That is Walk the Block, Navigating Digital Finance, over on YouTube and Twitter. That is what we got going on. Outside of that, though, Degen Roundtable is where you can usually find me. I'm actually doing a cooking stream tonight with our good buddy Will Stevenson. And then we're also doing our special edition of our main flagship show, episode 69.420 on Sunday. So
what are you cooking?
Week of specials. Oh, so, I mean, all right, I'll give it away a little bit. I am preparing a 5-course meal primarily out of steak. And that includes a dessert, which I literally at the start of the stream ran downstairs, pulled a red velvet cake out of the oven, and I have to go decorate it to go look like a piece of raw meat now.
Wow. I like all of that. That sounds good. Wow. Okay. Crypto Kong. Good luck. Wow.
Yeah. No, you guys, thanks for having me on, Max. It was good talking to you, Zenith. Good talking to you, Briz. And as always, great stream, Max. Good panel on today. So yeah, I really appreciate
banging panel. We got a banger today.
Yeah. I think we blew past the expectations of Pluto. I think we're out of the Milky Way now. So
yeah, we left this galaxy a long time ago. That's how good. That's how good. For free. It may have cost you some attention. That's about it.
Yeah, if you guys are looking for me, you can find me at CryptoKong on Twitter and X at CryptoKong145. So
awesome. Brissology.
I am a full bulltard. I am so bullish. It's actually kind of retarded. But I think it's gonna be great. You know, I think the market is playing market games with our emotions. I think Ethereum is gonna blow up. You know, it's just kind of a look at our right hand while we do stuff with our left hand. Right now, everyone's kind of looking at Solana, but you know, Ethereum has all the ETFs going on. Wall Street has the most crypto, more than anybody else in the world, and they're all in on ETH and Bitcoin. Maybe in the next few years they'll be in Solana too, hopefully PulseChain. But I really believe that Ethereum is going to blow up this year. the liquidity bonding is going to drag up PulseChain because we're like leverage on Ethereum. So quite honestly, I don't think we even need the sacrifice money to do amazing numbers. You know, and like I said, my prediction is that we're going to do amazing numbers and all the sacrifice money won't even be touched. Other than maybe selling it for stable coins somewhere, you know, $10,000 ETH plus. So I just think it's going to be great. You guys front run the market. The market is going to blow up later this year. I can feel it in my bones. So with that said, freaking stake hard and, you know, live long and prosper. I don't know.
I like it. I like it. Everyone, that's all we got for you today. Scivive and 5555. We are out.